Hey everybody, Elizabeth Varian here. We moved into my studio so you see all the backdrops so the ladies can have their praise and worship time. So yesterday we talked about the law of creation and we talked about, all the various ways that we create, covering everything from ask, seek, knock, thoughts, all the audio and visual elements, conversations, whether they're typed or that's vocal, you're verbally having a conversation, commonly used phrases that you've either spoken or you've heard, and ego-driven thoughts, motives, and also your belief system. So tonight we want to do take and see action. And basically, it's going to be very easy. It's no different than when you start the financial changes in your life, or you're going to do a weight loss program, you're going to start losing weight. The very first thing they say is you really have to know what position you're currently in. So they say start journaling and tracking exactly how, what you're eating for weight loss and how much you're working out. For financial, what's the money in, money out? Well, it's going to be the same thing for the first take, see, action work. I need you to start journaling, or I should say, if you choose to change and become intentional with your creations, you should want to start journaling and tracking. And what you're going to do is start paying attention. Just keep a notebook with you, and when you pay attention to things that you say consistently, or you hear a conversation you're in that kind of gives you that little nudge of, hello, maybe that's creating something you don't want, write it down and take stock in what television shows are you watching on a regular basis. What music are you listening to? I love Adele. Her music and her voice is phenomenal. But she has a lot of depressing songs about heartbreak and breakup, which we know is because of her real life events. However, I want to attract romance, love, and relationships, then I don't want to be listening about heartaches and breakups. I want to get excited about love, right? And then I want to listen to what are the phrases that I heard as a child that I'm still speaking out, the 2 steps forward and 3 steps back. What are phrases that just fly right out of your mouth that you're unsure of? And if you take that, I'm going to take the list. I'm cheating tonight. I have my paper in front of me. But this list I'm going to copy and paste in the post above or the description below for YouTube. Take that list, and before you start, I would say focus on, speak out, ask above, or pray on, whichever your terminology is, to say, please bring to my awareness when I'm doing any of these things that are not useful for that which I'm trying to create. And you will notice, you'll start getting that tap on the shoulder, as I call it, spiritually going, do you really want this? Is that conducive for what you're trying to create? Is that helpful for you? And so I would say start investigating your life. The next thing is to review your beliefs. Now, this is in your awareness. And I say that because over the weekend I worked with Eileen Gottlieb, and I can share more about her later on. She's a blessing in my life. And we started getting to root beliefs that I had disconnected. We say the mind or the ego, the job is self-protection. And if something from your childhood isn't useful for you now, it'll push it down. If your mind doesn't want to deal with it, if you don't want to deal with it, you might push it down. And so you might need to get someone else to help you to go to those deep-rooted issues. And we really hit one that was major, that quite literally started when I was 3 years old. So that's why I say the ones that you're aware of, because you may not be aware of everything. So you can only control that which is brought to you. So let's start simple. Okay, so start with what you're aware of. Look at your intention statements. We created those a few weeks ago. Or if you haven't, go find the video on law of creation and creating our intention statements. And once you create them, then look at them. And then what is the area of life that they are focused on? So is it finance? Is it family? Is it romance? Is it career or business? What is that area? And those are listed in that video. And I want you to start breaking down some different aspects of that area. And really just start brainstorming. In finances, you have a lot of various aspects, from people who are wealthy to your belief on money, whether you're allowed to like money or not, all of that area. Just think of like a journalist attacks a topic from every possible angle. And then I want you to be as honest. Sugarcoating it and making it sound like you're all high and mighty and godly, which we know we're not, let's be honest. If our thoughts were echoed out for the world to hear, heaven help us, right? But so be just downright honest with yourself. And what are your beliefs? And look at the ones that may need shifting out, changed, something to be more useful. So I wrote down an example that I want to read to you to help you understand how to do this aspect. And actually there's a book that I'm going to recommend for anyone on the finance one that actually does this for you and does it phenomenally. So let's think about, you want to create financial abundance. So the area is money, finance, right? So what are the various areas? And again, this might help you. And that's like the number one area that everybody put down that everyone's working on. So that's why I covered this. So one area, people who are already wealthy. What do you believe about them? Do you believe they're greedy? Do you believe they have to earn it? Do you believe they're selfish? Do you believe they're disconnected from society? Are they not givers? Do you believe that, how amazing that they're wealthy? Wonder what they did to get wealthy. Do you believe that the multimillionaires and billionaires of this world are out to cheat the system? Or do you believe that they use the rules before them to continually create and attract more wealth? So people is one area of any of the groups pretty much. Is there a such thing as a person having too much? There's a good one for you. Do you think there is too much? And when I say someone has too much money, do you have a number that pops into your head? There's your walls of limitations. What do you think it takes to become wealthy? Is it obtaining wealth? Is it easy? Is it difficult? Do you believe the only way to have wealth is to win a lottery? And if so, do you believe the lottery is easy to win? Are you afraid? Have a belief that wealth brings negative people? That if you do win the lottery or come in great wealth, that only greedy people will come and attract to you? That being successful will bring out people always wanting you for money, never knowing if someone just truly wants to be your friend or they're thinking about the money in your bank account? Do you believe it is easy and effortless to attract wealth? Do you believe you deserve it now, right now, just as you are at this very moment? Do you believe, or how do you speak about wealth, money in your bank accounts on a consistent basis? Are you constantly worried there's not enough? Do you get money and wonder where the next dollar is coming from? Do you spend but go, I really shouldn't? Do you focus intently on what you don't have? So those are just some areas that you can look at. Now, there is a book by T. Harv Eker, and you can find it on Amazon, called Millionaire Mind. Now, I met some people that are in this group actually from the Millionaire Mind Intensives, which are conferences that are created by the author T. Harv Eker. And after I read this book, I recommended it to my mom, I recommended it to other people, and I realized after a couple years I was recommending this book because it was such an eye-opener of doing this very homework assignment that I was like, I've never been to one of his events. I ended up going twice. And I really got not just a lot of information about it, but I had a lot of change and growth in it. And I met some pretty awesome people as well, which I'm still connected to years later. So his book really breaks down every aspect of what is your mind when it comes to wealthy person. Can you stand next to a billionaire and not feel any different? Because you know, you and a millionaire and a billionaire have not that much DNA differences. You both put your shirts on one arm at a time and over the head. You both have to sleep. You both have to eat. You both have to do pretty much everything every human does. But what you do with the 24 hours and what they do, what they believe and what you do, that's where some differences come in. So, you know, you can learn how to shift out those beliefs and then watch the opportunities come to you. Because if you listen to a lot of these biographies, you know, yes, they were thinking about money maybe a little earlier on than you were, but they started out, many of them, no different than you have, and some worse than you have. And they jumped on opportunities. Do you believe opportunities are luck, or do you believe those are opportunities you can attract? So doing this really sits you down to help you define what do you believe about this area that you're trying to manifest. If you have the intention to create, then you need belief systems that go along with the creation. Or when you shift to law of attraction, you're just going to be sending it away because you've got a block between you and it, and we've got to remove those blocks. And so identifying in the time that you're creating, what do you really believe, will help you when you shift to attracting. So there's a lot of tools and techniques in the law of attraction that can bring you money. But right now we're just focused on creation. And there's a lot right now on the internet of, you know, hey, let's create in 5 days, 7 days, 21 days, all these programs out there. But I really want to get you foundational stuff that you don't have to pay me thousands of dollars for a course to do it. I'm just giving you the information. And then I want to bring in those coaches that have those systems so then we can run them ourselves. But get this foundational work, and you're going to see how we create by doing these items on autopilot. How shifting to becoming more focused and intentional with our creation is actually going to be better for us. And how if we know this is exactly how we're creating, when you're in that moment of television watching, listening to music, I create playlists as part of attraction because I understand the audio part. I understand the television part as discussed last night. So next week, the timeline from creation to manifestation. Everybody wants to know, well, how fast can I create it? Well, that depends on you, and it depends on your understanding of the universe. I have created things within minutes and hours and a day, all the way to several years later, identifying, and I could always go back and connect exactly where it was. I was in Cancun, and it was 2 years later, I was in Minnesota, and 2 years after that, I was in Florida. In Cancun, I had created living in Florida, so it took 4 years. There was other things that I discussed last night, I believe, that were within hours. What causes that? And that's what we're going to talk about next week. So we're just going to have an understanding that the girls for the Bible study are going to be here. So I might have to do these videos while they're singing. But we're just going to be in our joy energy no matter what life throws at. We can control who we're being, let the world control and fall around, and know that somehow at some point we created this current moment, right? Alrighty, go be a joyful manifester, do your take and see action work, and I will see you next week. Have a great one. Bye.